Well, howdy YouTube, Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Today we have a special project. I have a family member in need of a PC, so let's build him one. Okay. Hold on. There's a catch. We have to build a PC that's capable of playing YouTube videos, some entry-level gaming, web browsing, word processing, daily tasks, normal stuff normal people do. But we need to do it for less than $300. So that's our task today. So my sister called me about a week ago and said, hey, do you know where I can get a PC? Mine's on she's running Vista, for crying out loud. She says, my PC's on its last leg. I want to buy a PC, but I don't want to pay more than about $300 for it. So I said, sis, save your money. I've got plenty of stuff here laying around. I can build you one. And best of all, I can make a YouTube video about it and educate some other people as to how far your PC dollar can go these days on an entry-level PC. So that's what we've done in this video today. So I'm going to talk about the parts that we've used. I'm going to show you me assembling it, testing it, getting it up and running. Then we'll get it shipped out to my sister so that she can enjoy the benefits of a much faster PC. All right, so let's go over to the bench, and I've laid out the parts that I'm going to use to build this, and we'll go over them, talk about them, and then we'll get to building the PC itself. Alright, so here are the parts we're going to use. We're going to go with an Intel stock cooler. This is just a little i3. It's not going to be put under a lot of load. The processor we're going to use is the i3 4360 CPU. It has built-in HD video, the HD 4600, I believe, with QuickSync, so that should fit the bill. This board also has DVI, VGA, and HDMI connectors. This is the processor I had in my old Xmonology box, so I thought I would repurpose it into this machine. Now, this motherboard we're going to be using is a Gigabyte GA-B85M-DS3H. Boy, that's a cotton-picking mouthful. It's a good board. I ordered it from China about a year ago. It came with an i5 processor, but I'm going to put that i3 in there because it's all my sister's really going to need on her machine. This is a good quality board. It's got like 6 serial ATA ports on it and 4 DDR3 RAM slots, audio, USB 3. It even has the older keyboard connector on the unit. I'm going with some G-Skill Ripjaws RAM that I had, DDR3 RAM I had laying around. I had a couple of 4 gig sticks, so that'll give a total of 8 gig of memory on this board, which should, again, be enough for web browsing, email, YouTube videos, that kind of thing. It's not like we're going to be doing any video editing on this machine or any gaming to any extent. Then I chose to go with the Kingston SSD, 240 gig SSD drive, because it was on sale. Now, I toyed with the idea of spinning a hard drive in this unit, but I want to keep it simple for my sister. She doesn't store a lot of stuff on her hard drive, so 240 gig ought to fit the bill for what she's going to use this unit for. Then if we need to put an external hard drive or something on it later, we have that option. Alright, so now let's talk about the case I decided to go with. This is a Rosewill FBM-X2-400. It's an entry-level case. With the 400 watt power supply. I wanted to go with something that was kind of all-inclusive on this. And I got to tell you, I'm really impressed with this case. It's got a nice brushed metal finish on the front, and it's made out of a heavier gauge metal than a lot of these cheap entry-level cases come with. So I was quite pleased that I got this. I think we paid $40 or $50 for this. I'll put a link to it on Amazon down in the notes, but it's got a front or top mesh cover magnetically attached, and you can put a radiator under that. I'll tilt the case here forward and show you what the front panel looks like, but Yeah, it's a good sturdy case. I was quite impressed with the amount of money, what $50 or $40 can buy you in a case these days, considering it comes with a power supply. Now, granted, the power supply is not the greatest in the world, but it'll get the job done. And on the front, you have your typical power reset. You have the power indicator, hard drive indicator, two USB 2 ports, audio ports, and then a USB 3 port on the front. I had a little trouble with that USB port. I'll explain it to you later in the video. And then inside, it's pretty nondescript. It does come with a 120 millimeter rear exhaust fan that is a PWM fan, so you can plug that right into the motherboard and have the motherboard maintain the speed for it. And you can see the brushed metal finish on the front. Now that front cover does not come off. There is no way to put 5 1/4 inch drives in this unit. So if you've got CD or DVD ROM or Blu-ray drives you want to install, this is not going to be the case for you. But for what we're building it for, it's going to work out just fine. There's plenty of space inside. The thing I really like about this case is that on that side panel you just saw me remove, there is plenty of room on that side to do good cable management. So it will actually be quite easy, as you see as we build the PC, to get all the cables tied up and managed. So overall, I would rate this case a really good buy for an entry-level PC, if that's all you're looking for is basic PC stuff. Because for 40 or 50 bucks, it does come with a power supply, and I just think that's a really good deal. Now, I just want to go on record as saying I hate Intel stock cooling fans. Here I am trying to reuse an Intel stock cooler that has been removed and replaced, I don't know, maybe a couple of dozen times. No, maybe not even that. Maybe a dozen times. But the point is, I could not get this damn thing to go on there. No matter how hard I tried. Now, fortunately, I had another Intel cooler in stock, and I used that instead, but I just wanted you to see my struggle. Now, this is the USB 3 header I was trying to plug in. The problem is the header, the connector is too wide and it hits onto the USB plug. So I'll have to come back and fix that here in a minute. So not the world's greatest cabling job, but it's good enough. There we are. Got everything all tied up. Nice and neat. The SSD sits right here. Got all my cables routed through the back, the top cables up here, power supply. Quite a lovely little case. It's this brushed metal finish on the front, and then my cable tying skills in the back. Everything routed through the back. Everything's tied up, nice and neat, out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and put the cover on, and then we'll fire this bad boy up and start getting Windows installed. Alright, so everything is working. You can see, if I get off my butt here, front panel indicators are working. I'm installing it off of USB. We've gone ahead and I'm going to do Windows 10 Pro on here. I was going to do Windows 10 Home, and then I got to thinking, nah, let's just do Pro. Why mess with it? So Windows is installing, as you can see here. Alright, so this is the PC I built for my sister, so let's get some specifications on it. So as you can see, it's an Intel Core i3 4360 CPU at 3.7 gigahertz. I've got 8 gig of RAM, or 8 gig of RAM. 8 gig of RAM, what the hell does that even mean? So anyway, I have 8 gig of RAM. Only 6.92 gigabytes is usable. And why is that? Because this processor has a built-in HD 4600 video processor on it, I believe. We'll look at the specs on this chip here in a minute. And I wanted to have plenty of memory available for the video. Because, you know, if my sister wants to get out and play YouTube videos and that kind of thing, I want to make sure there's plenty of memory to run that. I could have probably done away with less memory, but I gave the video card in the BIOS a gig of memory. So what I'd like to do now is I've already run Ada on here, but I'm going to go ahead and run it again just to give you an idea of the temperatures I'm seeing. So let me connect up to the NAS where we keep all of our applications, and we'll go to the Ada folder and we'll run version 600. So I've got all the updates done. I've got all the drivers installed. I've installed Google Chrome, you know, the basics. I still need to put LibreOffice on here, but let's go ahead and do a system stability test. No, let's try that again. And we'll go ahead and hit start. And so we'll let this ramp up, and I'll be quiet while it's ramping up, and we'll see how high our temperatures get. So now that this has been running a while, you can see the temperatures I'm getting with the stock CPU cooler. I do have the case closed and covered up, so it's going to simulate real-world conditions when it gets to my sister. Although that does depend on the temperature she keeps her home at. I keep my office right around 75, 76 degrees Fahrenheit. And as you can see, these temperatures are well within spec, so no risk of it overheating. I have run Ada 64 overnight and never had any CPU throttling or any issues at all. It was very stable. The beauty of Intel is you just kind of set it and forget it. Make sure you've got your drivers loaded, and everything usually goes on swimmingly. So now let's go ahead and run Cinebench R20. This is a low-end machine, so I don't expect any spectacular scores. Hopefully I'll get at least what I did before. As you can see, mine's running a little bit faster than an i5 5300U. I don't know if that's a good comparison, but this is an identical system to mine. This is what mine did last time. So I'm going to click on run, and then I'll be quiet. We'll let this run and see what kind of score we get. And there we go. So all told, that test took about 6 minutes to run, and we got basically the same score, maybe 4 points higher than our previous one. So not a screamer of a machine by any means, but perfectly capable of carrying on daily tasks. So like I said, I had most of the parts laying around to build this unit. What I didn't have was a good quality case. Most people don't use CD-ROMs, DVD-ROMs anymore, but us tech guys, we tend to do that. So normally I would never buy a case without some 5 1/4 inch drive bays, but seeing as this is, I'm more worried about appearances than I am about anything else for this PC. I want something sleek and beautiful to give to my sister so she can, either put it on her desktop, put it on the floor, or whatever. But I want it to look nice. And seeing as she doesn't use CD, DVD, or any 5 1/4 external drives, I don't need drive bays, in other words. So that's why I went with this Rosewool case, that and the price. It came with a 400 watt power supply. So here are the specifications from Rosewool's website. Just a very simple case with a power supply. So you have the ability to expand this later if you needed to. Now it does not include a modular power supply, but it's got plenty of power connectors on there. I don't even know how efficient that power supply is, but it'll get the job done. And I've had pretty good luck with Rosewool over the years with their products. So, but yeah, very simple case for very simple needs. So if you don't have any CD or DVD-ROM drives to put in there, then you should be fine, or Blu-ray drives for that matter, because this front cover does not support any 5 1/4 inch drives, just to be clear on that. So this is the motherboard I decided to go with. I ordered this motherboard off of eBay from China about a year ago. I did a video on this board. It's a good little board. The one I ordered came with an i5 processor, but what I decided to do was take the i3 processor out of the old Exponology unit I had, the H97 and Wi-Fi board. I took the i3 out of there and put it in here, and took the i5 from this one for the H97 and Wi-Fi, and decided to keep that for future projects here at Unky Joe's Playhouse. But this board is more than powerful enough. It has USB 3, serial ATA 3. Let me go to the specifications here. So it'll do a i3, i5, or i7 processor. Yeah, it'll do the i7, i5, i3, Pentium, Celeron processors, anything with the LGA 1150. It's got a B85 Express chipset. Let's see. This model has 4 RAM slots, not 2 like most of them. So you can go up to 32 gig of memory on this unit. It supports DDR3, 1600, 1333. Let's see. It's got it's got triple ports on it. It's got a DVI, VGA, and an HDMI port. And you can set the maximum shared memory on the video to 1 gig. Realtek AL87 887 audio, Realtek gigabit LAN chip. It has 1 PCI Express slot, 16x. So if we decide that the video on here is not good enough, I could send my sister a video card and have her update it or pop it in there. And it has 2 PCI Express 1x slots in there. So, pretty standard motherboard. It gets the job done. I've run Linux, I've run Windows on this thing. Never had any trouble with it. So that's what we put in there as far as the motherboard goes. Now these were the processor choices I had: the i3 4360 or the i5 4570. And for what my sister does, and you can see the comparison here, the i3 came out in Q2 of 14, the i5 came out in Q2 of 13. They're both 22 nanometer processors, processes for that. The i3 has a 54 watt TDP, and the i5 has 84 watt TDP. 2 cores, 4 threads for the i3, and 4 cores, 4 threads for the i5. The base frequency of the i3 is a bit higher. They're both bus speeds of 5 gigathreads. Let's see. Both support up to 32 gig of RAM. Both have max memory channels of 2. They both have the Intel HD 4600 graphics. Not that great of a graphics card, but it does have QuickSync on it, so you got that. And there's the resolutions it supports. So what I did was a side-by-side comparison of the processor just for myself. So I think the i3 is a good fit for what my sister is going to be doing, and should, it should be a good enough PC for her for the next 5 years, I would imagine, at least. Now, just because that Rosewool case is inexpensive doesn't mean it's cheap. A lot of these inexpensive, I said with quotation marks, cases that you get off of Amazon or Newegg, you got to be careful. They're really, really thin metal. I mean, you can look at the thing and bend it. You know what I'm saying? These are the kind of the gauge of metal I'm normally used to on a case. It's got like a nice little brushed aluminum finish or brushed metal finish on it. And they thought ahead on this case. I mean, for an entry-level case, for a basic PC build, they've left enough space on the side panel on the rear of the motherboard to do effective cable management. As you can see, I'm quite happy with the quality of this case and the fact that I was able to get all those cables neatly organized in the back of the motherboard. A lot of these cheaper cases, you have no room on the back side of that motherboard. They don't have any pass-throughs or whatever, or the cables are just too big. They don't leave enough of a gap in that back panel, or side panel, I should say, in order to route your cables. This one doesn't have that problem. And when you put it together, it's a nice fit. I'm going to ship it to her. That's the box that the case came in, so that's what I'm going to ship it to my sister in. Now, another decision I made was to go with Windows 10 Pro over Windows 10 Home, and basically it's just a matter of economics. I can get a Windows 10 Home key for $29, or I can get a Windows 10 Pro key for $29. And I'll put the link to that company that provides those copies of Windows 10 at a reduced price. They are legitimate keys. I've checked them out with Microsoft. The only problem is you have to, because they're OEM keys, you have to activate them over the telephone through their automated system. But I've never had any trouble. I even had a Microsoft person get on the phone to verify those keys were legit. And they're just, what this company does, it sells them. They just have a bunch of extra keys left over from wholesalers who never used them, and they sell them on to the public. So, but in Microsoft's eyes, the keys are legit. They will activate. So no worries there. But, the same price for a Windows 10 Pro key versus Windows Home, the math isn't too difficult on that one. That's why I went with a Windows 10 Pro key. Okay, so I almost forgot something. What did all this cost? Remember, the whole goal was to build this PC for under $300, shipped to my sister. So how did we do? Well, there's how we did. So the motherboard and CPU was $50, the case was $50, the SSD drive brand new was $50. The RAM was used, it's 8 gig, about $25 you can get 8 gig of used RAM. Windows 10 was another $30, and then shipping to my sister's house is going to be, I estimate, about $25. So the grand total with the new case, new SSD, in Windows 10 and shipping was $230. So it looks like we met our goal of building a PC that can run modern stuff, do modern tasks, do your banking, do your YouTube videos, do whatever you need to do for about $230. Even in today's economy, that is a good deal, no matter how you slice it. So there you go, YouTube. You can build a good, good quality PC for a family member or a friend. This unit is even capable of doing some entry-level gaming. I wouldn't try to put any first-run, high-end games on here, but for the majority of people, this will run an emulator. It'll run, it'll run anything pretty much you can throw at it pretty well. Now, what it won't do is 4K video, but you could easily pop another video card in here and still get another, 4 or 5 years of use out of this thing with a PCI Express 3 video card. So, it is built even for the future. So don't let the fact that this is an i3 processor scare you off of this unit. It's very economical, very affordable. And I could have gone with a Ryzen build on this, but I just didn't want to be bothered with a little quirkiness of some Ryzen builds that I've had here lately. So I went with what I know works and will work for my sister without any trouble, and that was the i3. So Thanks for coming along with us on this ride. We hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a thumbs up down below if you enjoyed the video, and leave your comments in the comments section. If you're so inclined, we take PayPal or Patreon. What I'd like to do with this, with my Patreon donations and PayPal donations, is I'm going to get on the new Intel bandwagon, their new 10 series of chips. So as soon as those chips come available, I'm going to probably buy an entry-level i5 with the onboard video and a motherboard and RAM. And we're going to see how these new series of processors from Intel is doing in a video. So all my donations here in the next few months are going to be going toward that. I also wanted to get one of those single board computers in here. I forget the name of the company that makes them, but it's a single board computer. They've got dual WAN or dual NIC ports on them, and they run about $185. But I thought they would be a great fit for pfSense firewall. That was the word I was looking for. So we're going to be trying to get one of those in here the next couple of months. So if you're inclined to donate, that's what these funds are going to go. What projects I should say that these funds are going to go to. So thanks again for joining us on this video. Please come back and see us again real soon. And don't forget, we will see you on the other side.